For years, the question echoed through the sister wives' fandom like a punchline that never quite landed. What does the nanny do? It was said with laughter, with sarcasm, with eye rolls and memes and disbelief. A joke born out of frustration, a shorthand for everything that felt off about Robyn's household. Fans joked that maybe the nanny just wiped down groceries or dusted shelves full of porcelain figurines. Maybe she just existed to justify isolation. But jokes have a way of becoming shields, and sometimes we laugh because the alternative is admitting something far darker might be hiding in plain sight. Because now, after last night, that question doesn't feel funny anymore. It feels chilling, because the answer is finally here, and it changes everything. Late last night, buried deep inside a paralegal forum that almost no one watches unless they're looking for something specific, a sealed deposition surfaced. Not leaked to TMZ, not teased by entertainment blogs, quietly dropped, almost like it was meant to be found only by people who knew exactly what they were looking for. Inside that filing was a name redacted into anonymity, Jane Doe, but the contents read like something pulled straight out of a psychological thriller. According to this deposition, the nanny wasn't hired to just watch children. She was there to witness the collapse,
to document it,
to survive it. And what she recorded may finally expose what was really happening behind the locked doors of the Brown household. What leaked alongside the deposition were digital photographs of handwritten notebooks, now being referred to as shift logs. Page after page of frantic, rushed handwriting. Notes written quickly, secretly, often in fear. They document Kody Brown's 3 a.m. manic episodes, paranoid rants, sudden lockdowns, and something far more disturbing, food pantry locks that only Robyn had access to. Not suggestions. Not boundaries. Physical locks. The logs also reference an audio recording so explosive that even seasoned legal watchers are stunned. According to Jane Doe, Kody allegedly offered her $200,000 in cash, untraceable, off the books, if she would burn the journals and disappear. Not sign a contract. Not negotiate terms. Burn the evidence. And today, for the first time, this isn't speculation. This isn't theory. This isn't fan fiction. This is documentation. This is sworn testimony. This is a lawsuit filed quietly in the Coconino County Superior Court while the public was distracted by wedding specials and reunion talkbacks. Jane Doe is suing Kody and Robyn Brown for hostile work environment, false imprisonment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Those aren't buzzwords. Those are charges you file when something has gone profoundly wrong. You don't file those because a boss was difficult. You file them because you were traumatized. Sources close to the case say the nanny was fired abruptly just 2 weeks ago. No warning, no severance, no exit interview. And unlike previous employees who signed airtight NDAs and vanished without a trace, this nanny kept something far more dangerous than a contract. She kept receipts. Every moment, every incident, every crack in the facade. And when you read the logs, what's most unsettling isn't how unbelievable they are. It's how perfectly they line up with what we've already seen on camera, only stripped of editing and magnified tenfold. One entry dated October 14th stands out immediately. It reads like a distress signal disguised as routine reporting. She writes that Kody had been screaming at the wall in the garage for 2 straight hours. Not on the phone. Not arguing with anyone. Just yelling. Ariella came into the kitchen asking for a snack. The nanny went to the pantry and realized the keypad code had been changed again. Robyn was asleep and had given strict instructions not to wake her before noon. The nanny writes that she had to tell a crying child to drink water because she could not physically access food. Let that sink in. This wasn't a shortage. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was control. We've seen the jokes about Kody not wanting the other wives to eat his food. We've seen handwritten signs on fridges in earlier seasons. But this log describes a system. One where access to basic sustenance was restricted, monitored, and weaponized. A system where a hired caregiver was locked out of food while children cried. If authentic, this isn't eccentric behavior. It's deprivation. It's power enforced through scarcity. The logs continue, and the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. In early November, the nanny documents what the lawsuit later calls the lockdown. 3 days where no one was allowed to leave the property. Kody allegedly became convinced that photographers were hiding in the surrounding trees with long-range lenses. All blinds were ordered shut, day and night. The nanny claims she was forced to work a continuous 72-hour shift because Kody refused to let her leave the driveway, insisting that opening the gate would compromise security. This is the foundation of the false imprisonment charge. Not metaphorical. Literal. This is where the psychology shifts. We all watched Kody unravel during the pandemic. We saw the rules, the loyalty tests, the alienation of his adult children. But these logs suggest something deeper. A paranoia that evolved beyond fear of illness into fear of the outside world itself. The nanny writes about Kody pacing hallways at night with a flashlight, checking locks, muttering about betrayal. She describes being cornered in the kitchen and interrogated about who she spoke to, whether she'd contacted Christine or Janelle. He wasn't looking for childcare. He was looking for a mole. And the tragedy is that his behavior created exactly what he feared. The most heartbreaking section of the logs focuses on the children. The nanny claims the youngest kids were coached to report on one another. She documents an incident where Solomon allegedly told Robyn that the nanny had been on her phone. What followed was a 2-hour lecture from Kody about theft of time and dishonesty. The environment described is one of constant surveillance. Everyone watching everyone else. Favor earned through compliance. Safety exchanged for loyalty. This wasn't a home. It was a hierarchy disguised as family. But then the logs introduced something even more unsettling. Something fans have speculated about for years without proof. The nanny refers to it only as the facility. A secured basement area she was ordered to clean and forbidden to discuss. She calls it a panic room, but her description suggests something far more extreme. Crates of military-style non-perishable food. Vacuum-sealed stacks of cash. A wall of monitors connected to cameras not just outside the house, but inside common living areas. Surveillance everywhere. If this is true, it detonates the long-standing narrative that Kody and Robyn are financially desperate, that they're drowning, that selling Coyote Pass was a necessity. According to these logs, Kody wasn't broke. He was liquidating, hoarding, hiding assets underground while presenting poverty above ground. This reframes every financial argument we've seen on screen. Every demand for Janelle and Mary to contribute. Every rage-filled meltdown over land payments. The timing of the leak is what makes everything feel deliberate, calculated, almost surgical. Jane Doe didn't release these documents in the middle of a ratings spike or during a reunion episode. She didn't tease it on social media or shop it to tabloids. The evidence surfaced quietly late at night, in legal spaces most fans never visit. That alone suggests intention. And when investigators and online researchers started pulling at that thread, they stumbled into a theory so unsettling it reframed the entire situation from workplace abuse to something far more strategic. This is where the story stops being just about a nanny and starts becoming about a long game. Deep in the metadata of the leaked images, long before the redactions were applied, a surname briefly appeared. It was visible for only a moment, enough for a handful of digital sleuths to capture it. That name doesn't belong to a random caregiver pulled from an agency. It traces back, distantly but undeniably, to the extended family of David Woolley, Christine's husband, the man Kody never saw coming. At first, the connection sounds almost absurd. A coincidence. A stretch. But coincidences don't usually come with burner phones, meticulous logs, and gas station meetups captured on grainy surveillance footage. One image included in the leak shows the nanny's car parked at a Flagstaff gas station. Parked directly beside it is a white truck matching the make, model, and registration style of a vehicle owned by David Woolley's construction company. The photo is timestamped weeks before the nanny was fired. Was it chance? Maybe. Flagstaff isn't huge. But in the Brown universe, nothing ever happens without layers. If this nanny was quietly transferring copies of her notes, audio files, or SD cards during those stops, it means the evidence Kody tried to destroy was already safe long before he knew he was exposed. Suddenly, the paranoia documented in the logs feels less delusional and more tragically ironic. Kody believed he was being watched. He believed there were spies in his house. He just never imagined the person scrubbing the floors of his panic room was the one documenting his downfall. In one log entry, the nanny writes that Kody would scream, "They're all against me." He thought the threat was the public, the producers, his ex-wives. He never suspected the witness was already inside. As the shift logs progress, the tone changes. The entries become sharper, more fearful. Robyn's behavior, according to Jane Doe, shifts dramatically. The passive aggression disappears. In its place, overt control, bag checks, purse searches, car inspections. The nanny writes that Robyn began hovering whenever she folded laundry, standing silently in doorways, watching. Ariella was no longer allowed to be alone with her. The nanny describes Robyn's eyes as calculating, suspicious, as if she knew something was slipping through her fingers and couldn't figure out where. This is where the household begins to feel less like a family unit and more like a pressure cooker. Kody's spiraling in the basement among his cash and weapons. Robyn policing the upper floors like a warden. And in the middle, an employee allegedly collecting the very evidence that could bring the entire structure down. The lawsuit claims the final breaking point came on a Tuesday night, 3 days before the nanny was escorted off the property by police. That night, according to the logs, the house was eerily quiet. Ariella and Solomon were put to bed early, which the nanny notes was highly unusual. Robyn stayed in the master suite. Kody went into the office, a room the nanny was typically forbidden from entering. But the door was cracked open. As she collected laundry from the hallway, she heard Kody's voice. Not angry, not loud, desperate, whispering. He was on speakerphone. The voice on the other end was distorted, but Jane Doe claims in her sworn statement that it sounded like a real estate attorney operating out of a non-extradition country. And then she heard the sentence that changed everything. How quickly can we liquidate the assets in the trust without alerting the other beneficiaries? That single question detonates the entire narrative. Because the other beneficiaries can only mean one thing, the other wives and the other children. This wasn't just emotional abandonment. This was an alleged exit strategy. Kody was discussing moving physical assets, gold, cash, art, out of Arizona, out of reach, out of accountability. The panic room suddenly makes sense. The hoarding, the secrecy, the obsession with loyalty. He wasn't preparing to rebuild the family. He was preparing to flee it. The nanny writes that she stood frozen, clutching a basket of laundry, listening as Kody discussed relocating assets to a secure location outside the state. The logs reference fresh military ration labels, recently purchased tactical gear, and new water filtration systems. These weren't remnants of an old survivalist phase. These were current acquisitions. Thousands of dollars spent on preparations for a future only Kody seemed to believe in, while Janelle lived in an RV without running water and paid for it herself. One log entry describes Pelican cases stacked against the wall of the panic room. Heavy duty, waterproof, designed for transport. One was left unlatched. Inside were vacuum-sealed bricks of U.S. currency. Not loose bills. Bundled. Organized. Preserved. This is the moment where the nanny's tone shifts from fear to moral reckoning. "I am watching them steal from the family," she writes. "If I say nothing, I am complicit." This is where Jane Doe stops being an employee and becomes a whistleblower. Exhibit D in the leak references a prepaid burner phone found among the nanny's belongings. Kody allegedly tried to confiscate it, accusing her of recording him. Online investigators believe this phone was her lifeline. Partial call logs visible in the leaked images show repeated calls to a Utah area code. Again, the same question surfaces. Who lives in Utah? Who has the resources to fund a legal operation like this? Who has the motive to protect a child and expose a financial betrayal? David Woolley. If the logs were already digitized and stored off-site, Kody's panic makes sense. He couldn't destroy what he didn't control. And when you view the lawsuit through this lens, the hostile work environment claim becomes almost secondary. This wasn't just about mistreatment. It was about evidence preservation. The logs from this period describe Kody's mental state deteriorating rapidly. He stopped sleeping. He rearranged art at night, convinced the energy flow was blocking prosperity. He woke the children at 4 a.m. to test loyalty, asking who they loved more. The nanny describes finding Ariella crying in the hallway after being lectured about patriarchal respect in the middle of the night. Food control escalated too. The pantry wasn't just locked, it was monitored. A motion sensor camera installed inside. When the nanny grabbed a protein bar after 8 hours without food, Robyn texted her within seconds. "That is for the kids. Please bring your own food." That level of surveillance isn't frugality. It's domination. Then came October 20th. The moment Kody closed the distance between himself and the door, the nanny knew this was no longer a conversation. It was containment. The logs describe a sensation she couldn't shake, the feeling that the house itself had turned against her. The walls felt closer, the silence heavier. She writes that Kody's voice changed, dropping into a low, frantic register that felt more dangerous than shouting. This wasn't anger anymore. This was fear trying to disguise itself as authority. And fear, when backed into a corner, is unpredictable. According to her sworn statement, Jane Doe had anticipated this reaction long before it happened. She had watched the pattern play out again and again. Kody escalating when control slipped, Robyn tightening the perimeter, loyalty demanded in exchange for safety. So when Kody called her into the kitchen that night, she activated a recording device. She doesn't specify which one. The filing hints at a smartwatch or secondary concealed recorder. What matters is that it was running before the duffel bag ever hit the table. The audio file that leaked alongside the deposition is labeled simply, Evidence Audio Final. It's less than 4 minutes long, but investigators say it may be one of the most damaging recordings to surface in any Sister Wives-related case. The quality is muffled, as if captured from inside fabric, but the voices are unmistakable. You can hear the zipper first, that metallic rasp slicing through the air, then the dull, heavy thud of something dense hitting the table. Cash. A lot of it. Kody's voice follows, strained, breathy, almost pleading. He doesn't sound like the confident patriarch seen on television. He sounds desperate. He says the number clearly. 200,000. Cash. Tax-free. He tells her to burn the journals, delete the photos, and leave Arizona. Nevada. Utah. Anywhere. Just go. He says her name. He says she never worked there. He says she forgets everything. The recording captures the cadence of someone who knows he is offering a bribe, not severance. Innocent people don't speak like this. Jane Doe's voice comes next. Shaking. Controlled. She says she can't do it. That she won't. That's when the tone shifts. Kody stands up. You can hear the chair scrape violently against the floor. He blocks her path. He starts pacing. His words tumble over one another. Accusations of betrayal, of spying, of being part of a plot to destroy him. He says he knows who she's working for. He says he has friends. He says he can ruin her. The audio captures the moment when power flips into threat. Then something even more chilling happens. Kody stops yelling. He whispers. The transcript included in the leak quotes him saying, "They're all spies. You think I don't know? You are watching me for them. Take the money and leave tonight, or I will destroy you." Whispered threats carry a different weight. They aren't performative. They're intimate, deliberate. This is where the nanny says she genuinely feared for her physical safety. And then Robyn's voice enters the recording for the first time. She sounds frantic. Crying. She tells Kody to stop. She says, "Let her go." Then, with sudden clarity, she says the sentence that changes everything. "She's recording. I know she's recording." There's a crash immediately after. Something thrown. A chair or a fist hitting the counter. Then silence. The recording cuts out abruptly. That silence is where the police involvement begins. Jane Doe didn't wait for Kody to calm down. According to sources close to the case, She triggered the emergency SOS feature on her smartwatch while still inside the kitchen. That alert goes directly to emergency services with location data. This wasn't a resignation. This was an extraction. The police report filed later that night describes the incident as a civil disturbance, but the notes section tells a different story. Allegations of unlawful restraint, fear for personal safety, threatening behavior. Officers arrived without lights or sirens, suggesting a desire to keep the situation discreet. A neighbor across the street captured shaky vertical footage on their phone. The timestamp reads 11:42 p.m. In the video, the Brown mansion's driveway is dimly lit. A single police cruiser sits at the base, engine running. The front door opens. Jane Doe walks out quickly, almost running. She's not carrying the duffel bag. She's not carrying suitcases. Just a small purse clutched tight against her body. She heads straight for the cruiser. For a brief moment, a silhouette appears in the doorway, backlit by the chandelier. The figure steps forward, gesturing aggressively. The officer exits the vehicle and places a hand on his holster. The silhouette retreats instantly. The door slams shut. Jane Doe gets into the back of the cruiser. They drive away. That's it. That's how it ends. Not with a firing. Not with paperwork. With a rescue. The nanny wasn't escorted off the property by management. She was removed by law enforcement. That distinction matters. Because from that moment forward, this stopped being an internal family issue and became a legal one. And the fallout was immediate. Within days, Jane Doe retained a legal team that raised eyebrows across Arizona. These weren't standard employment lawyers. These were litigators experienced in high-conflict, high-asset cases. The kind of attorneys who know how to handle sealed evidence, forensic audio, and financial tracing. A nanny's salary doesn't cover that caliber of representation, which reignited the rumors.
Who is funding this? And why?
Once again, the David connection surfaced. Quietly, persistently. Christine's camp has remained publicly silent, but insiders claim the motivation isn't revenge. It's protection. If Jane Doe's testimony establishes that the environment inside the Brown home is unsafe, food restriction, sleep deprivation, psychological manipulation, it has massive implications for custody, not just for Truly, but for any child still under Kody's influence. The logs reveal that Kody's behavior in the weeks leading up to the confrontation became increasingly erratic. He stopped sleeping entirely for days. He roamed the house at night, rearranging furniture and art, convinced it was blocking prosperity. He woke children to test loyalty, asking them to choose between him and their siblings. These aren't parenting choices. They're control rituals. And they were escalating. The pantry incidents grew darker. The nanny describes a moment when she hadn't eaten in 8 hours and reached for a snack. Within seconds, Robyn texted her from upstairs, informing her the food was for the kids only. This wasn't about money. It was about hierarchy, about reminding the nanny she existed at the bottom. That kind of environment erodes a person's sense of worth. Slowly, deliberately. The burner phone discovery on October 20th was the tipping point. Kody didn't just see a device. He saw exposure. He saw the end of his illusion of control. That's why the bribe was cash. That's why it was urgent. That's why he demanded the journals be burned. He knew exactly how dangerous they were. And now those journals are evidence. As investigators begin combing through the logs, a picture emerges that's far more damning than any reality TV edit. Once the police cruiser disappeared down the road, the illusion collapsed. The nanny didn't just leave the Brown house that night. She carried its secrets with her, intact, documented, and now protected by law. According to sources familiar with the report, officers noted that she was visibly shaken, struggling to keep her hands steady as she explained what had happened. She didn't dramatize. She didn't speculate. She described facts. The locked exits. The threats.
The cash.
The fear. And that is often the most dangerous kind of testimony, the kind that doesn't need embellishment because the truth is already heavy enough. The police report itself is deceptively short, but the language is telling. Civil disturbance sits at the top, a bureaucratic phrase that barely scratches the surface. But buried in the notes section is the phrase that changes everything. Allegations